Hey friends and book lovers, welcome back. Today's video, I am doing a mini review of a book, which is on book tour this week, and it is being spotlit and reviewed by a lot of different blogs and by different YouTubers, and it's all being organized by Eric over at Break Even Books. So he gave us this option if we wanted to read the book and review it, and I think some people even got to just spotlight it. So I'm here to do kind of a quick mini review of the book because I did read it, and I wanted to let you guys know my thoughts. So this is an honest review. So this is the beginning of a series. It's called Healers, Secrets of the Academy, and it is by L.L. Smith. He is a new and I think self-publishing author. He has 2 books out right now, and this is his first series, I believe. So this book follows these students at the Sal Veneeri Academy, and there are 3 type of factions that they could fall into. So one is the warrior faction, one is the healer faction, and one is the brains faction. They're pretty much exactly what they sound like. The healers have actually magical powers, and the healers are working through how to use their magical powers to hone them, to strengthen them, and to make them more efficient with healing. The brains are those that have taken a competency test and have just scored out of this world and are just masterminds, super intelligent students. And the warriors are those that are the ones that are fighting, and in some cases the ones that just didn't make it into the other 2 factions. So the healers are the ones with the natural born ability, and they automatically go into the Healers Academy. And the students at the academy have to fight the Shadow Knights, which are plaguing them, and the Dark Forest, which surrounds their school. So of course, any kind of magical school type of story was really intriguing to me. So I agreed to take a look at the book and give it a read. I'm just going to go over a few of the points that I usually go over. Quick summary, I definitely found it enjoyable. It was a really interesting read. It reads a little young. It is a YA novel, but it does read a little on the younger side of YA, the way it's written, versus other novels, even though the students are in their early 20s and there are some really dark themes and it does get gory at parts, it still reads a little young. So I did enjoy it, but there were certain things that I didn't like about it as well. So let's get into that. The first thing I'm going to start off with is just the world building. Obviously this is a magical school, so the world building is really contained in the school, and that in itself was good. The author really takes the time to show you each faction and how they work and the relationships that are established within that faction of students, etc., which is great, and you learn about the teachers and certain aspects of the history. But I really would have loved to see more of like the dark history and more of like the history of the world. I do think the way this story went that we're going to get a lot more of that in the next book in the series. It just did feel a little bit like it was lacking in this book, and I just felt myself wanting more. So I feel like it could have been a little more fleshed out in this book, even though we're gonna have probably a lot more of that world building expand in the second book. Just my 2 cents. It was still really well done within the school though, so you do get a really good sense of what the school is like, what the students are like, what their lesson plans are like, how they are structured, the kind of social hierarchy that schools tend to have. So that was really interesting. The other is the plot. So the plot is pretty straightforward. You know, they have to battle these Shadow Knights, etc., and they're all gearing up to learn, to make sure that they're ready, and to get each other ready as well. And you see them kind of go through their own insecurities, their own dramas within the school, and that's kind of fun to see. But honestly, along the way, there are a lot of mysteries, and there are a few twists and turns that I wasn't expecting. The first half of the book, you're just really getting to know the school and the characters in the world, so it can feel a little slower paced. But the last half of the book is when like everything happens, where you have like all these mysteries that seemed kind of strange in the first half. You're just like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't understand where this is going. They get revealed in the second half, or at least most of them do. And then of course, not everything gets revealed, so we're gonna have to wait for the second book to see a few things. But I do think the author does a good job of making you wonder about all these weird things that are happening and then revealing them like over the course of the second half of the book, which I thought was pretty good for this type of book. It definitely has the feel of a mystery novel and like certain bits of mystery are revealed, I keep thinking back to my school days where I would read YA or like middle grade mystery books, and it really felt like that way, which is why for me this book is more on the younger side, because it just reminded me of the books that I used to read when I was that much younger. I do wish that some of the things that happened in the second half were kind of better revealed in the first half and better interwoven. I did feel like with the subplots that were occurring, which is all the mysteries that were occurring, were a little bit jumpy, and I wish they were better interwoven. I feel like if they had been interwoven and we had like one thread revealed but then the other thread still going and then the other thread revealed, that would have been great, but it was very compartmentalized in the mysteries and in the things that we were doing. So one chapter would be about this, but the other chapter would be about the next thing, and it wasn't as though those subplots would carry over throughout the story. And so that compartmentalization sometimes threw me off, and I didn't enjoy it as much because of that. So hopefully in the next few books we have more of an interwoven storyline, and we can still get the most out of the mystery and out of the surprises that the author gives us. The story does end on a mild cliffhanger, so we'll have to see for the next one where more things will get revealed, and that does tie into the world building as well. The other thing I want to mention were the characters. So like I said, this reads a little younger. It is YA, and it does read on the younger side of YA, even though the characters were in their early 20s. I did feel like some of the interactions and some of the dramas that they had felt younger as well. Like they were the dramas that like a 15 or 16-year-old would have, maybe not someone in their younger 20s, especially if they're in school and they're going through like all this education and striving for something. So that felt a little off to me, but again, I think a younger reader would really enjoy that and not really pay any attention, and maybe even look up to some of the characters as well, since they are older and they are brave and strong and they're showing all these amazing qualities. There was something about the characters' dialogue that threw me off, because some of the dialogue is written in very current English and some of the dialogue is written in a little bit more of dated English, and so that throws me off. For me, my preference is to kind of go one way or the other. The other thing I noticed, and this is just like another one of my little pet peeves, is that they speak using words that you would use in essays, like furthermore and as a matter of fact. And typically people don't speak that way. They don't use things like furthermore when they're speaking with each other in kind of a casual way. That's something that I would use if I was giving a speech or giving a presentation, and I think that would also throw me off whenever I would see the word furthermore, which was used a lot of times. But I did like the interactions. I did feel like some of the interactions were really realistic. Like things would get awkward, things would be resolved, things wouldn't be well communicated, and we have to get clarified later, and that's all very normal for like younger people trying to go through things, and even as an adult now, those are difficult things for us to do too. So that was really interesting. The interactions were interesting. The camaraderie was really wonderful. I really liked seeing the characters back each other up. I liked seeing the characters go from their biases and their judgments to getting to know each other and then overcoming those biases. Those were some really amazing points in the book, which I really did enjoy. So I think I touched on a lot of things there. There are definitely some trigger warnings that should be aware of. There's a few tropes that people should be aware of too. There's definitely the insta-love trope, which I really don't like, but some people love that trope, so that's in there. There's definitely like the hero trope and things like that, and like the enemies to friends trope, not romantic, but just enemies to friends tropes are in there. And there are other tropes that I don't want to say too much about because they do reveal more of the plot of the book, but I do want to lay those out just in case anyone needs to know. The other things are just some trigger warnings. You know, it does get really violent, it does get really gory, there are some really dark things that happen, there's death, and so just check those out in case anyone is interested and wants to read this. So that's my mini review for The Healers, The Secrets of the Academy. It was definitely an interesting ride. There was definitely a lot of things that I didn't expect. There was definitely a lot of turns and twists, and then some things I didn't like. So if you're interested in checking this out, I'm gonna leave the links for Eric's channel and everything down below, so you guys can check out the book tour down below. And so just thank you to Eric and the author for letting me read it and check it out. It was a really nice experience and I enjoyed my time. So if you like this video, please click the like button. That does help my channel out a lot. And if you like my content, please don't hesitate to subscribe.